All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our monthly financial wellness virtual conversation. Everybody's watching on Facebook, YouTube. Please go ahead and share the post. We would be extremely appreciative. Again, those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, please go ahead and share the post, and we would be extremely appreciative. I'm now going to place you in the hands of the coordinator of our financial wellness ministry at Greater Bethel, Kiera Hall.
Hello, everybody. So today's subject is how money works for kids. And basically what I'm going to take you through is a book called How Money Works for Kids, and then be able to have a discussion on the book. So it's a really short read and it's really good. And so I just wanted to actually go through it, and then I'll share where you can download a free copy of the book. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. And now I share my screen. I'm going to make it full screen. So this is a book, How Money Works for Kids. It's a parent guide. And basically, we're going to talk about finances and how to help your kids basically be like a financial mogul or just be super strong financially. So the 8 areas that we're going to talk about is checking the money mirror. We're also going to talk about to save or not to save, budgeting basics, cultivating smart shoppers, credit and investing, giving back. And then we're going to break down age matters, because you wouldn't talk to a 5-year-old about finances the same way that you would talk to a 17-year-old. So we're going to, talk about those differences, and then growing up money smart. So, and the reason why I want to read it is because it's just so good. I was like, instead of trying to like summarize this, I can probably read it in the same amount of time. So, in today's world, children are constantly bombarded with products and services that advertisers spend billions each year trying to convince them that they need. When you think about how many outside forces are vying for your children's financial attention, it's a pretty scary thought. But how do you combat this marketing siege without breaking the bank? How Money Works for Kids is designed to help you teach your children simple financial strategies now, so they'll be better equipped to deal with money matters on their own later. You have the power right now to help your children avoid common money mistakes by helping them grow up money smart. So, talking it out, one of life's ironies is that we go to school to learn how to make money, but we don't learn strategies for handling that money responsibly. And as a parent, you're in the perfect position to guide your children through the money maze as you help them develop healthy money attitudes and formulate good strategies for saving, spending, investing, and giving back to their communities. Helping your kids become money savvy doesn't have to be complicated. All you need to do is start the conversation and keep it going as you use money to deal with your everyday life. When you're at the grocery store or the department store, explain the difference between wants and needs as you shop. When you're paying for something with a credit card or a debit card, talk about the differences between the two methods and how to use each responsibly. It's important for your kids to grow up knowing how to deal with money so they won't fall into the same traps that many adults are in now. So this is the introduction to the book, and before we jump in and start going through those 8 sections that I spoke about, did anything that I talk about here maybe um cause anybody to go like yeah, or did anybody have any thoughts or anything that they want to share on this intro part as we start to dig in into the 8 different components of this book?
Oh, I think it's a wise strategy.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm excited to go through this. And the cool thing is for parents watching, this book is not only going to bless your kids, it's actually going to bless you too. It's just like mentorship. You know, whenever you take the time to mentor somebody in Christ or help someone become better at something, you actually become better at that thing because you're now taking on this responsibility to teach and train someone else, which makes you better. So I love that. So the first section says check the money mirror. So as they grow up, kids pick up on adults' behaviors and attitudes, whether social, work related, or financial. So we all know the phrase like, you know, kids like they're going to do what you do and not what you say. So modeling good money management is one of the best things you can do to get them ready to handle their own money. If you are constantly worrying about money or expressing anxiety about going broke or not being able to pay bills, losing the house, etc., those attitudes are naturally going to rub off on your kids. In fact, many adults' money issues come from childhood impressions they got from their parents. Here are a few things you could do to avoid passing a negative legacy onto your kids. And that's like with every area in life, like not just money, when it comes to your emotional health, relationship choices, just how you manage your life. Like your kids are like sponges, and you know, I watch my kids, and as they're doing stuff, I can see like, oh, yep, they're acting just like me, or yep, they're acting just like my husband, or you know, I can see it. I can see them copying, like literally being like a little mirror. So let's look at ourselves in the mirror first. So we have to set the example. Decide what attitudes you want your kids to have towards money, then exhibit them yourself. So even if you are worried financially, one thing that you don't want to do is express that worry and fear to your kids. You want to figure out how to overcome it, how to deal with it, and then be positive, you know? So like my kids, sometimes they ask me for stuff. Well, no, they ask me for stuff all the time, but I don't say, oh, well, I'm too broke or I can't get that. What I will say is, you know what? When we have the extra money, we'll get that. Or, hey, I can show you how to make the extra money to get that. Or my kids say, hey, when can we get a new house? I say, we are going to get a new house. We just have to save up. So even if I don't have what my kids are asking me for, I keep a very positive attitude about it, letting them know that it is in reach and that it's something that we will be able to get done. And I talk to them about the steps we need. Like even my kids were talking about a specific house they wanted us to buy. One of my family members is selling their house, and I just did a guesstimate of about how much I thought it was worth. My kids were like, "Oh, well, can we just buy their house?" And I was like, "Well, their house is probably going to cost about $500,000." They were like, "What? $500,000?" I was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "So we, are not just going to buy it right now, but soon." After like working hard and saving up and doing the right things, we will be able to buy a house like that or even nicer. So my attitude was very positive. I didn't shut down my kids. I kept it very positive. That way they can also, mirror that positive attitude about knowing that if you just work hard and save, you can get anything you want in life. Um, it says emphasize the value of money. Teach your kids that money isn't free. You have to work for it, and thus are working for things you purchase. So I like to talk to my kids about um how much stuff cost, because in their mind, like they're like, oh, the phone broke, we're just gonna fix it, or oh, we can just do this and that. And I like to give a comparison and kind of help them to begin thinking about, like, from a math perspective, like, hey, this costs this much, and when I work, this is how much I make, and we have this bill and that bill and that bill. So, like, if you're irresponsible and you break this, we're not just gonna buy another one right away. Like, maybe it's something that you have to save up for or earn, but like just emphasizing the value of it so that they start to see that, oh, like, I have to work hard. And when I work and build and save, that this isn't free. So I love telling them like how much stuff costs and what it looks like. Like, hey, if you work this many hours and you got, for me it's a little bit different because I get paid commission versus hourly, but either way you can explain it. Like, I will tell them like, hey, if I sell this, this is how much I will get paid. And I tell them, what type of stuff it pays for. Another thing you could do is pay yourself first. If you want your kids to save money, then they've got to see you doing it too. So sometimes when my kids ask for stuff or say, hey, do you have money? I will tell them, well, I do have money, but this is for the future, or this is for emergencies. So I don't have it right now to get this, but I'm like, guess what? You have this much saved in your investment account, and mommy has this much saved in hers. So we talk about savings in our house. Sometimes when my kids want to get what they want now, I tell them, even when they get birthday money and try to spend it all in one day, I talk to them about saving, being disciplined, like making it last. Another area is getting your debt under control. So you will indirectly teach your kids to rely on credit cards, and you could give them the wrong idea about plastic. So, really be careful about just spending that debt freely, because then you might normalize that when really you want to teach your kids to become debt free. I was so impressed with, well, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name, but it's Maya. No, Maya's the mom. Shania is the daughter, right?
Right.
I was so impressed with Shania talking about debt free college. And she, just went off to college, and I love seeing her pictures. And, she has a beautiful, mom and dad who help her to think about that, going to college debt free. And she's been getting scholarships left and right from everywhere, and being intentional with not letting that debt take over her. Speak openly about money with your kids. You don't have to go into all the details of your family finances, but talking about money and how to use it wisely will go a long way. So me and my husband, we do the calendar budgeting method, and our kids are not fully included in that now, but as they get older, we plan to fully include them in that, like to allow them to sit there with us, help, do budgeting meetings, build the calendar out. And then when they start getting allowances and getting, a little bit older, having their own calendar and being intentional on budgeting and just seeing like, how do we prioritize money? But I think it's really powerful. I know there's a moment when I was, I think, 16 or somewhere between the ages of 16 and 18. Um, my dad and Mima showed me their budget and their finances, and that really left an impact on me. And when I went to college and had roommates, I remember like being very intentional about my budget, and I didn't eat out a lot. Like, I cooked and grocery shopped all the time. And I remember one day coming home with like a skateboard, and my friends were shocked that I like spent money on something extra, because I wasn't the one who was going to Checkers every day and doing all that. But I just remember that budget and being mindful. But even though I didn't go to Checkers often, the thing I wanted was a skateboard. And so I saved my money, put some to the side, and got that skateboard. But be in the habit of giving. When you give to charitable causes, you're encouraging your kids to be socially minded. Keep your priorities straight. The last thing you want to pass on to your kids is the feeling that money is more important than family and friends. And money can't buy happiness or love, but learning how to manage money wisely will enable your kids to avoid many of the same money mistakes you may have made. So, setting an example is really powerful, and you don't have to be perfect, but you continue to work on yourself and just remember that you are the money mirror, and what you know, be what you hope for your kids. Be that example to make it so much easier for them. They'll have a much better start. And so everyone makes money mistakes. It's a part of life. However, helping your kids recognize potential potholes on the road to smart money management is a great place to start. Before we go into the common mistakes and some money fixes, does anybody have anything they want to share? Any questions or comments?
No, for me, it's good information.
Perfect. So I'm going to actually zoom in and we're going to talk about these common mistakes. So for kids, a common mistake for a lot of kids is losing money. So children should never have more cash on them than they need, simply because it is irreplaceable if lost or stolen. Making sure they have a safe place to keep their money is the key to fixing this money mistake. If the problem persists, try doling out allowances or other funds in smaller amounts more frequently, or set up a bank savings account to help them keep better track of their cash. That's a really good idea. So if you know, like if your kid never had that problem, then that's not, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. They're on top of this stuff. But if you know your kid has like lost $20 bills or it just, you know, then it might be very helpful to have that bank account, or instead of $20 for the week, maybe just $5 a day. Because you know they're going to take that and they're buying snacks and stuff at school and they're just dealing with that smaller portion on a daily basis and not having that larger amount. Borrowing money. Get your kids used to paying back what they borrowed early. By expecting them to return the loan, you'll reinforce that money isn't free. The same works in reverse. If you borrow money from your kids, pay them back with interest. So now that's teaching them good habits and, just being responsible and making sure they get that money back. And it's also character, it's like you owe it, pay it. And you help to establish that in them. When they say, oh, can I borrow this, or I left this at home, say sure. Like when you get home, make sure they really give that back. Like don't tell them they could borrow it and then never think about getting it back, because now you're creating a habit when they get earlier where they feel like there's no need to pay back money they borrowed. Now they're burning bridges in relationships because they asking people to borrow money with no intention of ever paying them back, because that's how it was when they was growing up. Or vice versa. Like some parents, they will borrow money from their kids and never give it back to their kids. Or, had the attitude of like, well, you live in my house, I'm a parent, I ain't got to pay you back. That's teaching a bad habit. And it's not the way that the real world works. Inappropriate purchases. If your child wants to purchase something you feel is unsafe or unhealthy or otherwise inappropriate, say no and stick to it. Sometimes my kids want to purchase stuff on like Roblox, so they don't even ask no more, because I pretty much told them it's a waste of money. Felt like it was inappropriate, and I stick to it. I'm like, no, we're like, you are not about to spend money in this fake world. Like that's a waste. Like, and I talked to them about all the good things that their money could go towards, like of things that they can enjoy. And I like to limit the like digital time as well. But greed and or somebody got to help me with this word. I know greed, miserliness,
Like
um,
to be a miser, so like miserliness, like to be a
miserliness.
be a miser, like you try to just bring everything in, so it's
Like a
miserliness.
hoarder. Okay, I'm in a meeting. So if you notice your kids aren't willing to part with their
Mm.
money for anything, like buying gifts or charity, or if they hoard it, explain that money itself isn't valuable. It simply allows us to purchase the things we want or need. Helping your kids understand how rewarding sharing wealth with others can be, it is important to their overall attitude. And then credit card debt. Until they reach college age, credit cards are not a good idea. Once they have a card, however, encourage them to pay off the balance. Each transaction period will them help keep them financially balanced. If debt begins to get out of control, encourage them to stop using the card and set up a personal payment plan to pay more than the minimum each month. Now, one thing I will say is when I was growing up, one of the things my mom did is she gave me a Amex card, and I used that Amex card whenever my basketball team was traveling. I used it to get my food, like my sub from Subway, or just when we would go out to eat with the team. So I only used it for that. And then when I went to get my first apartment, um, or was it my first apartment? Oh, Alexa, stop. Um, but I remember when I went to go get, maybe it was my second apartment. I can't remember with my first, if I needed a cosigner. But I know by the time I went to get my second apartment, that Amex card really was my mom's card. And I guess I was like a authorized user on the account who also had a card with my name in it. And I was probably about 16. And that helped to build my credit. I wasn't necessarily the one who managed it though, but I did follow the rules. I never bought anything that my mom didn't say was okay to buy. So I think you have to know your kid. You know, sometimes I see on the TV shows where the kid says, "Oh, it was an emergency," and they went on this big shopping spree. Like I would never do that. But know your kids, so that you don't get yourself into trouble. But I think it can be even beneficial teaching kids how to use them responsibly, and use them similar to the way you would use a debit card, where you buy things that you do have the money for it and you pay it off right away. So I'm in a meeting. I'm in a meeting. Go play in the playroom. And so the money mirror, I feel like, is the most important aspect of this, because it's essentially saying, you know what, no, it's essentially saying I am going to teach my kids by example. Then the next one is to save or not to save. So for kids, the thought of retirement is pretty much non-existent. But teaching them the principles of saving for their future, whether it's a car when they turn 16 or go off to college, um, or anything in between, is of vital importance. By learning how to be financially literate, your kids will have a much better foundation for saving when they reach their 20s and beyond. So the earlier you start, the better. And so when it comes to savings, a couple of tricks that I like to share with my clients are actually right in this book. Um, is when you're encouraging your teenagers to start saving, or even your small, like I talk to my small kids as well about saving money. And what we do is, like, for example, let's say they get cash, and they, like, we talk to them about saving being a good idea, and maybe they might give $5 out of that 20, and we'll put it in our bank, and then we'll transfer it from our bank to their investment account and talk to them about it, getting them in that idea of even saving and investing part of their money for their future. And so you can help your kids put their savings on autopilot, just by like making it a rule, and just saying, hey, you got $20 for allowance, but $2 is going to go towards, your tithes. Then another $2 is going to go automatically to savings. We're going to do 10%. And if your child has a savings account, or in my opinion, even better, um, is like an investment account, because now the money can grow. Um, Now they can get compound interest, which I'll talk to you about the power of compound interest at the bottom of this page. And so if your child doesn't have a bank account, you could pay them the interest, but I'd rather put it in an interest bearing account and let let the account pay my child the interest, as opposed to me putting interest to it. But you can be the one who pays the interest towards that saving to help encourage them as well. And then savings trick number two, savings is linked to expenses. So a person with many expenses will have a smaller portion of money left over for spending or saving. A person with fewer expenses will have more disposable income. So by helping your child understand the value of saving as much as they can while they have the opportunity to put more away, you'll be reinforcing the importance of planning ahead. And of course, your child will always save more if they pay themselves first. So it's just a really good habit. And now, instead of spending the money and seeing what's left, you're helping them develop that habit of saving first and being intentional with their spending. Like, your child's probably gonna be more likely when they get a job to opt into the 401k match and different things like that, and really benefit and be much better off in life than somebody who is not thinking about those things at all. And then savings trick number three, where is it going? A great for your way for your kids to learn how to stick to a budget is to keep a money journal, or like I was talking about, a money calendar, and have them write down all their income and subtract all the expenses. A money journal is super simple. A money journal isn't only helpful to see where their money is going, but it's also a great primer for balancing a bank account. And then savings trick number four, slash expenses. So if your favorite grocery store offers loyalty card savings or digital coupons, have your kids add up your savings as you shop. Like, look for sales. I love sales. Like, it's certain places. Like, if I know if I want to get cereal, a certain type, I'm gonna check out that BOGO at Publix. My main place to shop is Aldi's, because I know I can get a grocery full of buggies for less than $150 for my family, whereas it would have cost me $300 if I would have went to Publix. So mindful of how do I slash expenses and save money. I just switched from AT&T to T-Mobile to save $150 a month on our cell phone bill. So, look for sales. I love Shell gas station. If you have like the silver status, or if you have some type of loyalty program in your product, you say 20 cents per gallon. So, my car insurance, check it every 6 months. Like, I'm always looking like, how can I get the same thing but save money? And look for sales before buying anything at full price. Compare online, like, especially if it's a big thing for me, I will double check when I'm in a store. Like, is this on Amazon? How much is it on Amazon? How much is it on Walmart.com? And find other ways to cut costs as well, such as buying essential items in bulk or having kids bring their own lunch to school. So those are some saving hacks, and you can even get your kids to start being little savers. Like, growing up, my dad and me mom used to give us a certain amount of money, and with that money, like, we would go in the Ross and we pick out whatever we want, but that was our budget for school. So some kids, they might like just pick out all this stuff, and then their parents just buy it. But my dad, he was like, "Here goes your money." And we ran on that store, and I love clearance. Even this day, that's what I look for. I look at, okay, this is the amount I have to spend, and how can I maximize that? How can I get the most within it? How can I slash expenses? Am I gonna spend this whole money on like 2 pair of shoes, or am I gonna, check out be willing to check out the shoes at Ross? Jay, quiet now. Am I gonna be willing to check out other places and slash expenses? And then when we look at the rule of 72, interest rate makes a world of difference. Like, what interest rate are you getting on your investments? You divide it into 72, and that's how long it takes your money to double. So at the bank, we're getting less than 1%. One goes into 72 times. So that means it'll take 72 years for my 10,000 to be 20,000 at the bank. At 3%, it's every 24 years. At 6%, close the door, please. Hey, can y'all close the door, please? Hold on just a second. Close the door. At 6%, it's every 12 years, and at 12%, it's every 6 years. And there are investment vehicles that have averaged anywhere between 10 and 12% over the last 50 and 100 years. There's plenty of them out there. Like, you could Google it. And so look at that difference. And like over time, and somebody who has 10,000 that's growing at 3% interest rate, that's 40,000 versus 10,000 growing with an average 12%. That's 2.5 million. So huge difference, huge difference. And when you think about a child, they have more, well, for the most part, they have more years, you know, till they hit that retirement age, which means you get them started early, they can be in that position to where they have millions, you know, by the time that they're 48 or in their 50s or 60s, because they got it started early. And this is just a one-time investment of 10,000, never adding any more. And just the power of the time. Budgeting basics, I won't dig super deep into that, but there's a variety of ways you can do budgets. I'll let y'all Google it. We did a budgeting workshop. So if you go to the Greater Bethel YouTube and search for budgeting, we actually had a whole workshop, like a whole financial wellness seminar on budgeting. So I won't dig deep into that, but you can teach your kids how to budget. And then we, you know, when it comes to allowance, some parents tie it to household chores. Some parents, that's how I grew up. It was tied to, you know, being responsible to take care of the chores I'm supposed to take care of. Some parents just simply give to their children and set them out each week. There's periodic jobs. I know my brothers used to mow lawns. I used to like sell candy. Then you have birthday money and gifts. And so you just start, the best place to start is for your children to, you know, have money of their own. That's how they can start being mindful, when they have their own money. So my kids, when they have their money with them and we're going through the store and they're wanting to spend it, that's when we're looking at, okay, this price tag says this, you have that. If you get this, you're no longer going to have any more money. Are you okay with that? And they say, oh, well, no, I actually don't want to spend all the money I have on this. So helping them understand with their own money is the key. They can make extra money, babysitting, pet sitting, dog walking, you know, lots of ways. And then maybe you have like a kid who wants their entrepreneurial, like they just, you know, start their own lawn service or different things like that. And then right here, I think this is pretty cool. It says tie the allowance to the child's age. So maybe a 6-year-old, $6 a week, and as they grow up, you know, their allowance can grow with them, but just starting early. And I'm gonna zoom into this bottom section. So this will vary from family to family, like to find that system, because it's all going to depend on like your budget and how things, you know, work for you as well. But, you know, you could pick a day and stick to it. Teens, it could be monthly. With younger kids, you know, more often would be better, like weekly, but decide up front, like what you expect the money to cover, you know? So when I got my allowance, I already knew that part of that was taking care of my school lunches. Like I just knew it. The beginning of the school year, I got a specific allowance and I knew that was going to be taking care of clothes. But supplies was not necessarily part of that budget. That was just something my parents bought. So figure out, okay, here goes the money they're getting. What is this money expected to cover? And now they can start being intentional with the way that they're going to spend the money. Um, and then, yeah, so I think I've already said this. But ultimately, let your kids decide how they want to handle the money. Like my kids are very different. One of my daughters, it's like the money she want to spend it so quick, and hers be gone pretty quick. During the school year we've been so busy, so both of their money just been stacking up. Anything they get, but my other daughter, she saves it a lot. And so, but when it comes time to get something she really want, the daughter who be wanting to spend the money come to her saying, "Hey, can I get some of your money?" And I have to step in and be like, "Hold on, now you can't be spending all your own money, and I want to spend her money too." So you can guide them, but and make sure it goes with your family principles and stuff, and help guide them, but allow them to make their decisions and also experience the consequence of that decision as well. Because an important part of life is just making mistakes, because that's how we learn. People can tell us stuff all day, but it's when we make the mistake that we start to see, like, okay, I need to get this together, and it sticks better, and that's okay, because that's one of the ways in life that we learn. Um, I won't dig super deep into this, but if y'all could take a screenshot about starting a business. If your child wants to do that, mapping out the plan, knowing checks, checking out the market, developing good habits, and thinking about advertising. I talked about the shopping already, but you have brand versus generic. And then also, sometimes you have like like I like to pay attention when I'm buying stuff. Is how much is it per ounce? And then that's how you know how you're really saving. It's like, so, especially when I'm buying stuff like African black soap or different things that we use, I'll see what's the best deal. Like one may be cheaper, but then I see, well, this one is, I'm actually spending like way less per ounce. So I'm getting more for my money. And that's something that you can start to cultivate in your kids, like just unit costs and understanding that. Because as opposed to just going about it and not realizing that you're overpaying unnecessary, or um how things work. And then with credit, we all know credit cards, so you could teach them these things. And this book has an example where it shows how the item costs 300, but after paying for it on credit, depending on how many months you spread it out, maybe you pay 329 or 314, versus if you just bought it up front, so it costs, that additional money. Is it worth it? And then with investment basics, I'm not going to go deep into that. If you're wanting to learn more about investing, feel free to message me or reach out to me, and I definitely could take the time to help educate you and help you to know investment basics. I am investment licensed and love educating people about investments, but that in itself is like a big whole lesson. But there just multiple things to understand when it comes to investing and your different options, and then what makes the most sense towards your goals. And then as we talk about goals, there's different types of goals. There's immediate, short term, long term. And depending on type of goals will depend on where you put the money. So if it's an immediate goal, it would just be like a savings account. But if it's, maybe like that first car, it's in 1 to 5 years, then it might be an investment like bonds. But if it's long term, 5 years or more, then stocks, like a growth like investment. And, getting that compound interest to work for you. The money's going to be sitting there, let it work. Going back to that rule of 72, and just, making the most out of your money, and earning that interest on it. And then right here, it shows, I think this is really cool. So if somebody has a savings goal, and this is just a smaller goal, but it goes to say, like, if they begin saving monthly at age 10, they only have to save $4 a month versus age 17, $48 a month. So the longer you wait to save, the more you have to put away to hit the goal. So you could be, mindful of that. And this gives such a small level, like, wow, like this is $4 versus waiting till 17. Now I have to save 12 times more to hit the same goal. And that's the high cost of waiting. It works just like that for retirement. Like the longer you wait to start putting away, the more you got to put away to hit that same goal. So the sooner you start, it's easier. You can just take those small disciplined steps and just keep that good habit to hit that goal. You can start setting goals with your young kids, and now it could be way more manageable for them to hit that out of that same money. And then $10 a month at 9%. If you start at age 10, by age 18, it got $1,400. But as you can see, like the high cost of waiting. So these two are synonymous, but in a different way. It's like, oh, it cost me $452 just to wait those 2 years. And as you can see, if you take $9 a month, 9 times 12 is less than 120. I don't know the exact number. But so I didn't put away 240, but it cost me 452. So basically what it's showing is that, hey, I'm missing out on this interest, this compound interest. I'm missing out on that money. And I see some comments in the chat. Oh, yeah. Zoom in. Do you suggest saving with a bank or investment option? So it's gonna be, what's the goal? So for example, if the goal is short, because my kids, they have investments, because I'm like, for all their goals, it's more than 5 years out. Whether it's, I don't know what they'll do when they get older. Maybe they might get all scholarships, but there's money that's being put away and saved for them. And I have it in 100% stocks. And I use mutual funds because it's long term. They got more than 5 years for that college, or even they got more than 5 years even for buying their first car. So even the car, because of how young my kids are, is still long term. I think most goals for my kids are long term, but a short term might be that, sports camp or different things like that. And in that goal, that would definitely be a savings account, but that's money you're going to want to access right away. And so a savings account is the best way to go for that. And I would definitely love to meet. I know you put that question kind of in the chat anonymously. Would love to meet with you to, go even deeper into any personal questions that you would have towards that, and explain those numbers, because I am a little bit limited on how I could talk about investments on a public platform. Just because I don't have the capacity. I don't know who's all watching. I don't have the capacity to where when I talk about something that I can get out a prospectus or require legal information to everyone. So I keep my specifics when it comes to investing very limited on a public platform. And then last but not least, start out slow. Help build their confidence, and then you can help somebody get diversified, and then when your child's ready, you can even set up a minor account with a mutual fund. And actually, it doesn't have to be when your child's ready. Like, my 3-year-old got a professionally managed mutual fund account, so it's more so when you're ready. I think it's good the moment they get a social security number to start getting some money put away from that for them, and it makes a huge difference. Like you can see over time, just even in putting small amounts of money away for your kids. And then I remember growing up doing fundraising, being a part of Brownie Scouts, watching my dad hop out the vehicle with his clothes on from Sunday, helping push somebody's car. But just helping people, having the pantry at the church, helping and that's good for our kids to be a part of that and to develop that giver's mentality, um and just, being financially responsible. God wants us to take care of the widows and the orphans. And so you can even create like a jar for charity, in the house, where, we're going to put this change in here. And then we're going to, when the jar fills up, we're going to go and support a charity. And there's so many amazing charities around Gainesville. You have like the St. Francis House. Of course, our church, giving to our church, we do so much in the community. You have their grand opening was today at 5. They used to be called Creative Games. So they help women who've been involved in sex trafficking, help them get back their life. There's so many good organizations, and your kid might have a passion. You can help them to even give back and make a difference. Or even sometimes they have it where you can kind of like adopt a kid in another country and your money goes towards their meals and you can write them letters. I don't know how you do that now, but when I was younger, I used to do that through the Christian bookstore in Gainesville, and it was really cool. And I would write letters to the children who were a part of that. um Time is valuable, uh that it would be so cool if we did this with our church. I remember when we were younger, we would go out as the kids and we would go serve the elderly in the community. Like I remember going, like sometimes we might clean their yards or come in and help clean their house. And it just do you remember that? I can't remember what it was called or why we did it, but I
It's
remember
called,
going out.
it's called Rent-A-Kid.
Huh?
It was called Rent-A-Kid.
Renegade. But we used to go. I remember going out and serving the elderly, and I loved it. And they got the work they needed done, and they spent way less than if they were to hire somebody.
But y'all
So it
use
was a win.
we kind of encourage you all to do it because before we took trips, they gave you all spending money, but you actually went and worked for it. You didn't get it from your parents. You went and worked for members of the community.
Yeah. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the members of the community and for the kid. I think it'd be cool, something, to be able to do something like that again. I know the community was really different. We were in like a small city and there was like lots of houses and stuff around, lots of elderly around, but I thought that was a cool experience. And then don't just send your donation, like talk with your kids about what you're doing and why you do it. Like even with our tithes, I thought about it. I could show my kids like on the Giveify app, like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And just that conversation, our kids are so smart. They are watching. They want to engage. They want to please us. They love us, and let's include them. Uh, yes, go to a nursing home, volunteer. Those are great. When I was growing up, I remember we would go to a nursing home. We would sing Christmas carols and spend time. And I remember volunteering and just being there. But that's a good thing to bring the children and let them do it. Um, and the people in nursing homes, some people don't have families too that are coming to visit them, and so it's very appreciated. Um, so yeah, and then age matters. So for your 3 to 5 year olds, cash, credit cards are just too abstract. Like, don't be trying to get them a little debit card. They just, get them used to like the coins and the container and the piggy bank, $1, like physical cash, helping them between that age 3 to 5, 6 to 10. That's between the ages. You can start doing that weekly allowance, and they know that addition and just that math, and they can start learning some of that budgeting basics. And then and remember, y'all, this book is available for everybody. So I'll make sure to share the link. But 11 to 14, that's that middle school, Um, and so that's a great way to introduce. I mean, I started some 11 to 14 stuff even with my 8-year-old, and my 7-year-old. But you can start talking to them about compound interest and earning extra money outside the house and things like that at age 15 to 18. Really focusing on that future. I remember I got my first part-time job. I think I was 16. Understanding taxes, encouraging them put a portion of their paycheck to save away for college expenses, things like that. Just being mindful. Um, and then reinforce the negative power compound interest on credit cards. So helping them understand like how much it actually costs. It may cost $300, but you spending more when you get it on that credit card. And the importance of a budget. And then just start today. Like, don't worry if you missed a few stages, if your child's a teenager, or you just start today. And then we'll have children who grow up money smart. Because our children are faced with money choices every day. From small choices like buying a candy bar, to larger ones such as saving for college. So while you can't control all of the outside influences, try to affect their decisions. You can prepare them to make the right decisions. Remember, your children will model your behavior. So it's important to start out with the right financial attitudes first and then pass along those healthy attitudes. Like me and my husband got these matching pair of Jordans, and my daughter wanted some, and I told her, I said, right now, I don't think it would make sense to spend this much money on shoes for you at this age. I said, but when you get to like middle school, because that's when my feet stop growing. I said, so your feet probably gonna stop growing around that time. So then we can start getting those nicer shoes, because then you'll still fit them all throughout your life. I remember there were nice shoes I got in middle school, but then I still had them like through, high school, and even as I was older, took care of them. And so I helped her to see like, hey, it's nothing wrong with having a nice pair of shoes. But I'm like, as an 8-year-old, it doesn't really make the most sense for us to spend $120 on these shoes, and then we're ruining your childhood, because now we so concerned about you keeping these $120 pair of shoes nice, instead of you just playing and having fun. Like, who cares if shoes get dirty? Like, when we went back to school shopping, my daughter, she picked out a pair of shoes she really liked from Walmart, and I think they were like $12, and she loved the shoes. And so, one thing I'm teaching my kids is not to care about name brands, and if kids are picking out them at school, I don't know if this is the right response. Y'all pray for me if it's not. But I was like, if somebody try to talk junk to you about not having no name brand shoes, let them know you got an investment account, like, and you're gonna be rich. And so you can have some forces, maybe they got forces in investment account. I don't know. But like, just, the right mindset of it. Like, look, we're focusing on getting out of debt. We're focusing on saving money. We're focusing on getting in a position where we can get a nice, beautiful house. We're focused on, I'd rather spend our time on an experience, So we've been talking about saving up for a cruise that we want to go on, within a year or two, and how much that costs. And I'm just working on getting my daughter mind right about, being money smart. And, so yeah, I hope this book, I think it's amazing. I think it's so good. If you're watching this from a QR code, computer, you can scan this QR code, but if you are on your phone, you just go to the realhowmanyworks.com. That's it. And then you'll go to books. And then when you're on that website, you click on books, and then there it goes right there, How Many Works for Kids. And then you just click on that, and then you'll have the book right there that's available for you. So let's raise our kids to be money smart, and it doesn't matter how much time you miss. You can start today. You can start today. It can happen at any time. And the important thing is that you just start. So this is How Many Works for Kids. If you know a parent, please share. I think that this is an impactful thing, not just for kids, but just for people in general. And I think you can start to impact not only your own kids, but you can have conversations with your nieces, your nephews. If you're a teacher, your students, I have a PowerPoint, How Many Works for Kids PowerPoint. I've done the How Many Works for Kids presentation at like churches, and all the kids come to the front. And so we can really make a difference for our children's future, and they can have things much easier financially than we did by helping them get started now, and just making a difference in their life financially. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please share. But that is the end of going through that book, which I think is amazing. And then they also have one for adults. It's on the same website. You just click on the regular How Money Work, and it talks about mortgages and all type of stuff. And then remember, like, these are books, but if you want a free financial consultation and you want like live support and somebody to ask your questions to, I am here for you. I do not charge a fee to get my advice or anything. I go through the information with you. And if you feel like, it makes sense and you understand it and you want to move forward with it, then the companies that I represent, they pay me to help you with the different financial products that I'm licensed to help people get, like life insurance, investments, mortgages, and things like that. Um, and so, yeah, I love what I do. And I think it really is the power of Proverbs 13:22. Leaving a legacy for your children's children and being the Deuteronomy, being the lender and not the borrower, the head and not the tail. And that's what we can do. We can create wealth. And God has given us the power to do it. And it's not a get rich quick overnight. It's just using these sound financial principles and starting to move in the right direction.
Good. That's good. I think we got a lot out of it. I think you can, by teaching your kids and working with your kids at a young age and get, the Bible says, in all I get and get understanding. And so I think even with understanding, beginning to understand money, a lot of people use money to manipulate people. And you put yourself in a position to be manipulated when you don't understand it. And so people use it, making you feel like you got to be dependent on them because you can't get your own. People manipulate you to make decisions that you might have to pay for later. But it's when you can begin to understand it and understand, how to, obtain it and how to manage it, and how to make good use of it. I think it can help you avoid a lot of mistakes in life. And the less bumps you got on your head in life, we learn from the bumps, but it's best to go through life with, with not as many bumps as you have to get. And so I think it's a real good thing when we teach our kids to value and understand money at a young age. They'll probably get less bumps on their head and don't have to make up, won't have so much to make up because of mistakes. So I think it's a good lesson, and parents ought to make the extra effort. Nobody else is going to do it for you. We got to make the extra effort to pour into our children and prepare them to be successful.
Yeah. And my mom corrected me. I forgot about this. I said my first job was 16 Taco Bell. She said I actually was 14 and worked at UF through the YES program. I totally forgot about that job. But I did work at UF when I was 14. That was really fun. I literally just organized files. It was the perfect job for me. I took all of their paper and digitized it. But yeah, so throw that in there.
Right. All right. Anybody have any more questions? If you see something online, if we see something that you chatting online later on, we'll try to come back and respond to it. And then on the Greater Bethel website, gbgville.com, you can also discuss topics and ask questions, and we'll be notified if there's something that you put in there. But thank you so much to everybody. And look like I just saw somebody come off from mute, or maybe not. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us. You all have a wonderful week, and God bless you.
God bless everybody. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Kiara. Bless you too.
My pleasure.